So Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, and Reese Witherspoon in same show. Obviously, it had to win so many awards. Welcome back to the channel everyone, I hope you guys are doing absolutely fine. So the season 2 of the morning show is out and season 1 was such a blast, and specifically the finale and the cliffhanger that they had left after season 1, it was really surprising what exactly would be happening in season 2 and how they are going to end, because the show ended in 2019, the season 1, and season 2 is out post or mid pandemic now, and they have so many things after season 1's end. So just a spoiler alert, if you have not seen the season 1, in this video I'll be giving you a quick recap of how season 1 had ended and what exactly now they are doing in season 2. So let's start with the video. So season 1 talks about a morning show, the morning show, which is on the network called as the UBA, wherein which is one of the most highly rated show in America, and they are it shows the show faces kind of a big scandal when there are two characters which are the main lead anchors of the show. The Jennifer Aniston's character, who is called as Alex Levi, and the second character, which is Steve Carell's character, whose name is Mitchell Kessler, and the entire storyline is kind of based on how his character is more deteriorated in the future episodes, and at the premise of this, how the show is going down and how Alex's character is kind of blown up because of that news, because she has been his co-anchor for the last 15 years, which is one of the most popular show in the entire American history. And after that, she kind of gets to the new anchor, whose name is Bradley, and she is played by Reese Witherspoon, and how then she kind of not gets along with Alex, because she is very much outspoken. She tries to bring so many real-time news, and in the midst of that we get to see the California fires. So Alex and the entire team travels all the way towards Los Angeles, where they are covering the entire California fires. Meantime, Steve Carell's character Mitch is also trying to fight back and try to get his point of storyline as well, because even if he is being accused of all the assaults, he, according to him, it was always mutual, and he finds a kind of a weaker link wherein there is another character called as Hannah, with whom he had a relationship in the past, and she had kind of went to the head of the department, head of the entire show, whose name was Fred, and he kind of still puts it under the blanket by giving her a promotion and making her the head booker. And that was one of the major link which Steve gets, that he can get back to Fred and make him leave his job. And at the same time, even Fred is very much aware that he is going to get what he had started at the beginning. So he kind of tries to throw another main character, who is the head of the control room, whose name is Chris, and he kind of throws him into another bus, and they are kind of going to fire him. They even fire him in the very end. And before they could do everything, Chris, Steve's character, who is Mitch, as well as the head of the president of the show, who is Corey, they kind of definitely plan that they should bring the Mitch's point of view on the show as well, and they kind of convince Reese's character, who is Bradley, to do a one-on-one interview with them. And while doing that, they should have a very much strong contender who would be able to go on the record and tell what exactly had happened with Mitch at that time. So they directly approach Hannah, and Hannah agrees to do the interview. But before Reese could interview her, she interviews her, and she kind of gets very much depressed by again telling her part of story. But at the very end, it is very much unclear whether what exactly happened with her, because the scene where she just goes into thin air, and it is still kind of in the gray area, because at the very next scene which we get to see after her is she lying on the floor due to a drug overdose. So what she really killed, or what exactly was that really a overdose, it is still kind of in the gray area. And meanwhile, when they are planning to bring Mitch back to the morning show and do the interview with her, Jennifer's character Alex is very much scared because if they do that, her entire legacy of more than 15 years is going to just vanish. They are going to spoil her entire show as well. So she kind of gets along with Fred and try to do what exactly they would be able to do for a cover up like this. So at that same time, Fred kind of convinces Alex that Chris was the one who had done that, even if he was not one of them who knew about what Mitch was doing. So Jennifer, and there was this amazing scene where Alex and Chris are just walking down, and he is knowing that she knows that he is going to be fired, but there is still some kind of tension. And just for this scene, I think the show was an absolute cinematographic and just for this particular scene, the show was at its best as far as the entire cinematography is considered. This entire shot of they are just passing by on the elevator and just looking at each other, but not able to look into their eyes because Jen's character is knowing that she has done such a horrible thing to Chris and not letting him know, and interviewing a lot of other candidates behind his back and still not letting him know that he is going to get fired. That was such an amazing scene. And post that, before Bradley could put Hannah on record and could interview Mitch on the morning show, we get to see that Hannah has already died and Chris is already fired. So it is going to be a really difficult thing for them to now bring the Mitch's story, Mitch's point of view of the entire story. So while doing that, the entire mission is kind of sabotaged, and before Bradley could understand all these things are happening in her own show, she just kind of decides to quit the show and go back again to where she belongs. And before doing that, the one good thing that she does is just she goes to Alex and tells entire thing, what Fred has done, what Mitch has done, what has happened from Hannah's perspective, and everything which was going on from the backstory, where they were not letting Alex in because she would entirely sabotage their entire plan. Then Alex kind of loses it and she realizes that what they were doing was kind of right, and at the back of the head even she was very much horrible, trying to fire Bradley, trying to fire Chris, and she also kind of gets in their zone where she kind of understands that they were doing the right thing and even Fred should be entirely sabotaged. And when they go actually on air, she kind of loses her temper. She kind of all kind of feeling kind of blasts to her what exactly has been happening for so many years, the entire patriarchy, all the women who were very much silent for so many years, and they just decide to go on the record on the show and tell they do not directly put the recording of Hannah's interview, but Bradley kind of entirely tells what happened with Mitch from Hannah's perspective. And there was this amazing scene where Fred is kind of going back into the control room, but they are standing strong as a team and they are not even letting him in his own control room. And that is when the entire show cuts off, the UBA cuts off the entire interview and the entire show is dead. But at the very end part, which is Steve's character Mitch, that was the last scene of season 1 where he has kind of won, but at the same time he has no clue what is going to be happening with the future. And that is all for season 1. So that is it for the entire recap, and it was such a big cliffhanger when Alex had kind of suddenly left and what was going to happen after it had suddenly got shut down. And season 2 will give you a lot of answers, but at the same time not entirely, because probably they are doing a storyline wherein they would be revealing many parts into installments or into very much a short span, because the season 1 opened with the pandemic situation. The entire New York is empty, everything is under lockdown, so definitely they have to cover the COVID storyline. And all the shows which are as big as these shows, if they are including the storyline, then they are definitely one of the best shows, because curtailing their current storyline, and even though it was such a sensitive topic which was covered in season 1, and it was obviously going to have have a lot bigger story after season 1 ended, but somehow they have to do stories which are based on the real time, so they have to obviously curtail their main storyline because season one's end was super dramatic, and obviously it was going to continue in season 2. But season 2 is obviously based on COVID, but they had to give the season one's end some kind of justification or some kind of closure. So season 2 begins with the COVID and the pandemic, but it is 3 months later, 3 months earlier. So it was also a very good episode to start with, because 3 months later, like 3 months previous what happened, they had started the show in that timeline so that they can cover the entire New Year's Eve. And New Year's Eve in New York, in Times Square, when the ball drops, that is one of the best days to be. And that is how the entire season 2 begins, and that is in the further way that how Jen is not there. Alex's character, Alex is not there in the morning show. She has left. She is going to publish her own book. As far as Fred is considered, he is out of the picture now, and even Corey is there as the head now, and he is going to manipulate things now. After Jen leaving, after Alex leaving, Reese is not able to manage that well. There is another character who is Eric, who is there in the morning show now, and after that the ratings are also kind of down. So there is this big decision whether Alex should come back to the morning show, or who exactly should be there along with Reese's character. And apart from all that, Bradley is obviously not able to do that much justification to the morning show, and she is still kind of going for the evening show because she was a on-ground reporter. And that is when the entire picture is going to change now, because she is not aware that her partner is going to be replaced, or Alex is going to return back. And again, we are back in that same workplace scenario where they are keeping secrets from everyone, and they are not letting each other know what exactly is going to happen on their own show. So probably it is going to be another amazing show, because still in episode number 1 they have just covered the New Year's part and how they would be progressing from there. But definitely I can say season 2 is going to be much more bigger. The way that season 1's storyline was followed, the way that the suspense was created at the end, it was super thrilling. And I don't know why Jennifer selects a character whom we obviously have to hate all the time. Like till episode 8 or episode 9, we were so furious about Alex doing so many things behind Bradley's back and trying to even more sabotage Steve's character. And at the end, obviously, we end up liking her. But exactly like Friends, I have never liked Rachel, but I've always loved Jennifer. So I don't know why all of her characters are like these. And also this amazing star cast. I'm not sure about Steve getting back in season 2, but season 1, so many amazing characters. Reese's character, Reese with the spoon, I've been a fan of her since I've seen the movie The Wild, which basically is a movie which if you're not able to travel anywhere, if you watch this one movie, you are basically traveling the entire Pacific Crest Trail. You're traveling between mountains, you're traveling between rainforest, between snow, and since then I have been a big fan of her. And Jennifer is as always one of the best stars, and she had to win a lot of awards for this particular show. So that is it for the season 1 recap and season 2 review of the entire show. Do let me know what you think about the show in the comment section below, and also please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed it yet, and I'll be meeting you in the next video.